The chopper is as good as dead. America has finally overdosed on obnoxious, over-the-top, sometimes hideous custom cruisers. Fads come and go, but after decades of near anonymity, hiding in the hip underground counterculture, television has virtually killed off the chopper's cool factor. When every doctor, dentist and lawyer on the block bought their midlife crisis custom, the writing was on the wall. You know what they say about too much of a good thing. Welcome to the rise of the custom sport bike. For decades the modern Ripley Racer has spawned an incredibly diverse and deep aftermarket. Anything and everything that can be bolted on or swapped out can be found for every popular sport bike ever made. Head to the local bike night, take a look around, and you'll find a sea of absolutely over-the-top chromed and polished beacons of attention. For those really looking to stand out, it's nearly impossible unless you do something radical. Legions of builders have been crawling out of the woodwork of late and are an altogether new breed. Greg Deschardins of Greg's Customs hand-fabricated this RC51 powered special, which he calls the GC1000, using the skills he's developed creating his own line of bolt-on accessories. At first glance, the bike appears to be just another modified Ducati Monster or naked sport bike. But when we first saw the bike at the Indie Dealer Show last year, we knew it was something special. Dead giveaways to distinctiveness and craftsmanship included the non-Ducati V-twin in a trellis frame and the beautiful fuel tank and tail section. When Greg brought it by the CW offices, we sat and stared at the motorcycle until our eyes were bloodshot. The GC1000 isn't a customized motorcycle so much as a totally custom motorcycle. Deschardins is one of those guys who can't leave well enough alone. The tinkering started on his two-stroke Suzuki T250 and Yamaha RZ350 before he became obsessed with Yamaha's R1. It was his 2002 YZF, for which he designed and built his own single-sided swing arm, that really got things going. As he started customizing other areas on the bike, he realized that there weren't any aftermarket turn signals available that met his requirements. So he made his own billet aluminum LED units, including 10 additional sets. He quickly sold those and realized a business opportunity had just slapped him in the face. So in the spring of '03, he walked away from a good job at Brooks Automation working with semiconductors to start Greg's Customs. Deschardins concentrated on making the signals, while his girlfriend, now wife, Nada, helped package and hawk them. By '05, he was selling 15,000 units a year through McCoy Motorsports and expanded the business into fender eliminator kits and other accessories. But as the business grew, he wanted a way to showcase his company's wares. Hence the creation of the motorcycle you see here. Others in the industry noticed Deschardins' talent early on and tried to get the then 25-year-old on their payroll. The most prominent prospective employer was none other than Jesse James of West Coast Choppers, who was working on a Project Honda VTX Custom Red Rocker, Cycle World, February 2004 at the time, and took an interest in one of Greg's single-sided swingarm designs. The two never came to terms, which in a way was a blessing in disguise as it allowed Greg to forge his own path on this bike. He had a pretty solid idea of what he wanted to create. First and foremost, he desired a bike that braked, handled and accelerated like a sport bike, with the swagger of a show bike. This would require genuine engineering. The heart of the bike was always meant to be a V-twin primarily for the sound, and came in the form of a stock Honda RC51 engine purchased on eBay. A huge amount of work went into placing the motor in the chassis. Making a suitable airbox was a challenge due to the custom gas tank, which required a different fuel pump for clearance purposes, because the V of the engine was rotated backward and upright like the letter V itself. This made room for the Ron Davis fabricated front-mounted radiator, in place of the RC51 side-mounted units. An aftermarket Ducati 916 oil cooler was added, as well. The twin-pipe, under-seat exhaust system was hand-fabricated by Deschardins, and uses a Dynajet power commander to optimize fuel delivery. Stainless steel head pipes of dissimilar diameters were used because of the different run lengths from the cylinders, a La Ducati 999. He then fabricated the titanium canisters and stylized aluminum end caps to converge cleanly with the tail section. Building the frame was the biggest task and took about 2 months to complete. He started by mounting the engine to a work table, using it as his jig. The trellis structure may look conventional at first glance, but it's a combination of round 4,130 chrome moly tubing with streamlined chrome moly aircraft stock for braces. Many of his design solutions were made due to space requirements, while some were purely aesthetic. Using a fuel-injected, liquid-cooled engine, for instance, meant there were a lot of wires and hoses to hide. There were other lessons to be learned, as well. Initially, he bead blasted the motor and had it powder-coated but wasn't careful enough cleaning out some residual media, which ultimately caused it to lunge itself. Lesson learned, he chose to paint it the second go-round. Then he Permastar coated the cam covers, oil pan, crankcase and machined billet clutch cover for added bling from its chrome-like sheen.